one thing that I feel is not cool, that sticks out to me like a sore thumb from Star Wars Celebration. They interviewed Ashley Eckstein, Ahsoka, and they asked her like, hey, like, how has it been? What has it been like, you know, seeing a live action Ahsoka, and like, did you give any advice to Rosario Dawson? And Ashley, you know, she is so like, you know, bless her heart, you know what I mean? Like, she's so like just good-hearted and kind, and the way she answered was perfectly polite and nice, but she was basically like, actually, I've never met Rosario Dawson. I've never communicated with her. I've never spoken to her. I've never seen her. I would love to. I would love to meet her, and I would love to be in the Ahsoka show. Not as Ahsoka, obviously. I don't think she meant that. But like, she's like, hey, like, you know, a lot of other people get cameos in these shows. Like, I would love a cameo. So, I mean, like, to me, the Ahsoka show is in production. We already saw Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka on The Mandalorian Season 2. And we saw her in the Book of Boba Fett. Like, the fact that they haven't, that at this point they haven't had Ashley come in and like meet Rosario Dawson, or that like, hey, Rosario Dawson hasn't like reached out to Ashley, like whether on social media or like just in private, and been like, hey, I would love to have lunch, grab lunch with you or whatever. I'd love to talk to you about the character. Like, what the heck is up with that? You know, like, Dave Filoni is heavily involved in these shows, and Dave Filoni created the character of Ahsoka. Like, George Lucas kind of gave the order for the creation of the character of Ahsoka, but Dave Filoni actually created the character of Ahsoka. The fact that like not even Dave, who's involved with the shooting of these shows and is involved with the Ahsoka series, like hasn't been like, all right, day one, before we even start shooting Ahsoka, I gotta have Rosario Dawson and Ashley meet and sit down and talk. Maybe let's do a little photo op, like, you know, to kind of get people even more pumped for the show. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It almost feels disrespectful, because you know what? They're using Luke Skywalker in Mando and in Book of Boba Fett. We see, we see Luke Skywalker, and they, even though they're using a body double and a voice double, like a software to do the voice, they still bring in Mark Hamill to basically play him. Why wouldn't you give Ashley Eckstein, offer her the same courtesy of at least asking her to be on set, to at least, even if it's just to kind of say like, does this feel like Ahsoka? The way she said this, does this feel like Ahsoka? Like, I know that Dave Filoni is the one that created the character, but Ashley Eckstein is the one that breathed life into that character. Like, her voice, her character, her personality bleeds through. And I mean, I don't want to sound like a Ahsoka Ashley Eckstein fanboy here, because to be honest, I always found the character of Ahsoka annoying throughout the Clone Wars. And in fact, I didn't give the Clone Wars a fair chance when it originally aired because of the character of Ahsoka. Like, after I saw like, oh, this Ahsoka character is gonna be a major part of this show, like, what is up with this? Like, what is this? Like, this is annoying. Like, I found her annoying. I thought she was unnecessary. I wanted to see the Clone Wars and see Anakin and Obi-Wan in action. I didn't care about all these other stories that they were throwing at us with Ahsoka and the clones. Like, you know, I wanted it to be the Clone Wars, Anakin and Obi-Wan, you know, and then maybe some other Jedi adventures or whatever. But she really grew on me, and season 7 basically like was actually seeing her in Star Wars Rebels and then going back and seeing her in season 7 of the Clone Wars, that was like that was it for me. I became a fan. You know, the character really grew on me, and it's basically, I think, it's become one of the most important characters in Star Wars, like next to Luke Skywalker. So the fact that you just don't include Ashley in any of this just seems so wrong. And I don't know. I would have to like do a search on Twitter and Instagram and stuff to see if like people are pointing this out. If there's other fans that are pointing this out. But like, why aren't we making a bigger stink about this? Like, that's not cool, man. I just feel like that's not cool. Unless, you know, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, unless the reason for that is because they're saving it for something else, or maybe maybe she was being very, you know, maybe this misdirecting in the interview, and maybe she has already, you know, maybe Dave has been waiting for now the production of the Ahsoka series to be full, you know, going on, and after Celebration to have Ashley come in and meet her, and maybe there is a part for her in the show. But maybe it's also in direct response to that interview and the fact that she said it. She basically called him out and said, no, I've never met Rosario Dawson. I've never spoken to her. I would love to, and I would love to be in the show. Anyway, I don't know. I just feel like that's really kind of not fair and kind of uncool.